Hello everyone, welcome back to this new video. This is the fourth part of files in Python, and in this video we will discuss about the binary files and how can we write in binary file or how can we read a binary file using Python language. So watch the video till the end and gain the knowledge about this also. So when we have to deal with the binary files in Python, then we have to use a library file, that is pickle. And for importing any library file we use import keyword, so we will write import pickle as our first line of every code. As we have discussed a lot of modes for text files in Python like R, W, A, X. Similarly, we have a lot of modes for binary file also, but I am discussing only two here because this is enough for a basic knowledge, or we can say it is enough for CBSE board examination. So the first one is WB and the second one is RB. So WB is used for writing in any binary file and RB is used to read any binary file. The next thing which we have to keep in mind while writing the code for binary files is like when we have to read any file, then we use the load function of pickle library. So we write pickle.load for reading, and for writing we use dump function of pickle library file. So we write pickle.dump, and what we have to write inside the parenthesis or we don't have to write inside the parenthesis, all I will tell in this video, so watch till the end. These are the small little basic knowledges which you have to know before writing any code for reading or writing in any binary file. So now I'm going to show you that how we can access a binary file in Python. But before discussing about the examples, here is the one thing which I have forgot to discuss, that is the another syntax for opening any file for reading, writing or any other modes. So this is how we can open a file with open. So with is also a keyword and open is the function here which we use to open any file. So it is an inbuilt function, and then we write parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we give file name comma mode, and then we write as object. So object means, like in the previous video I have taken f as my object, like I was fetching the data in my variable f. So similarly we can take any type of object for fetching or for using our binary file. Now I am going to give you some examples so that you can understand like how we can use this syntax and also how can we write a program to do multiple functions. First I'm taking two simple examples to let you understand like how we can use pickle load, pickle dump, and how we use our new syntax. And then I will take two questions which I will discuss briefly, which will very helpful for you in CBSE board examinations, and also it is very helpful for you to take knowledge about Python language, about files. So as I said, our first line is import pickle, and it will be always the first line because we are going to use the functions of pickle library file. Thus it is very important to import it first. So first we have to write import pickle, and then as I have to make a function, that is why I have used the def keyword and I have written def read file and in parenthesis file name. So read file is the function name here and it will be according to you, and now file name is the argument here. So I have discussed this in my previous videos that we can also give argument inside the function which we are going to make. So I think you can understand. So this is the file name which we are going to open. And inside this line, I have used the syntax for opening the file. So with open and in parenthesis file name comma RB. I have directly written here file name because we will give, or the user will give, the file name in the parenthesis when he or she will call the function. So here we don't have to use the single quotes for writing this because this is the argument which we are using inside our function. So with open file name comma RB inside the parenthesis as F. So like my previous example, here also I have taken F as my object. And then inside this line, I have used data as my variable in which I am fetching my all data from my binary file, and then pickle.load and in parenthesis f. So it is very similar to the previous codes also. Like when we were discussing about the text files, then we were using the read function for fetching the data. Similarly, we are using the load function here to fetch the data from the binary file. And the only thing here new is that we are writing pickle.load because I have also discussed this, that whenever we have to use the function of any library, then first we write the library name and then dot and then the function name. So that is why I am writing here like this. So data is equals to pickle dot load and in parenthesis f, because f is the object in which we have opened our file. So now my every data from my binary file is in the variable data, and now in the last line of my function I have written return data. So now this will return all the data from my binary file to where I have called the function. So now in the seventh line, I have written read file and in parenthesis data.pkl. So this is an example, like the user can fetch any type of files data according to his her needs. So I have taken an example here. So here the file name is data and .pkl is an extension of binary file. So data.pkl. And I have used the print function here because the return function will return us the data, but it will not print in the output. So for printing in the output, we have to use the print function when we are calling the function. Now I can't show you the output because we don't have any binary file right now. Like I don't have any data.pkl file, so I can't show you the output. But if you have any binary file, then you can write this similar code and you can see the output. So this is how we can fetch any data from any binary file. We can write the code like this also, like the difference only is in the fifth and the sixth line. So in the last code, we were using the return function. So return function return us the data where we call the function, and we have to use the print function while calling the functions. So to print the data in the output. But if you will use the print function directly into your function, which you are defining, so you don't have to use the print function while calling it. So here we have written in the fifth line print data. So when you will call the function and you will run this code, so it will print automatically all the data from your binary file. Now I'm going to discuss about like how we can write anything inside the binary file by using the simplest code. So first line will be import pickle always, and the next line is def write file. Write file is the function name here, and the function name will be according to you. So you can give any name to your function, and then in the parenthesis, I have given two arguments, that is file name and the next one is data. So the file name is the binary file which we are going to work on in my function. And then data is that data which I am going to enter in that binary file, or which I want to enter in the binary file. You can also do this work without taking arguments, but that will be lengthy. So we have to focus on effective codes only. So I am giving you the best way to do this work. So focus on this. Now the third line is with open and in parenthesis file name, comma WB as F. So this is the syntax and I think everyone can understand. Only I have changed the mode here because we have to write. That is why I have used the WB mode. And now in the fourth line, I have written pickle.dump and in bracket data comma F. Now this is the thing which you can learn the format, like what are the things we can give argument inside the parenthesis of dump function while writing anything inside the binary file. So always we give the first argument, the data which we want to enter, and the second argument will always the object in which we have opened our binary file. So I have written pickle.dump and in parenthesis data comma f. Now in the sixth line I have called the function, that is write file, and in the parenthesis I have to give two arguments because when we have made the function we have given two arguments as the mandatory arguments while calling the function. So first is the file name. So I have taken an example here, that is our file name is data.pkl, and the next thing is data as the argument. So we have to write the data which we want to enter in our binary file. So binary file generally works to store any data about someone or any employee or any student data. Like I am taking an example, like what is the name of a student and what is the age of a student, school name and marks of 10th and 12th, and then you can say J NEET, etc. So these all informations are stored in the binary file in the tabular format or anything. So here we are inserting the data which is name colon Alice and age colon 30 and city colon New York. So this is the data of Alice which I want to store in my binary file, that is data.pkl. So I have given two arguments. First the file name, that is data.pkl, and the next is the data which I want to enter. And this data is in the form of dictionary. You all can understand, I think. So now when I will run my program, then this data will occur in our in our binary file. So I am not running this program because I said like we don't have any data.pkl file, or I don't have any binary file currently. So you can do this code and you will get a proper output like which you want. So yes, this is how we can write anything inside our binary file. Now I am going to give you some examples. That is two examples. First for writing in any binary file, and second is to read any binary file. And for that question, first we have to discuss a table. Like it is an example that we have a binary file and whose name is employee.dat. So DAT is also an extension of binary file, similarly like the PKL. So we can use both the extensions. So now we have a file employee.dat, and that binary file contains a table, and that table stores some information about the employees of any company. So the first thing is employee name, and the second thing is employee age, and the third thing is employee salary. This is the table we have. And now we are going to do our first question. This is our first question. So we have to write a program which will write 10 new records of employees in the binary file using the pickle library. So as usual, the first line will be import pickle. And now the second line is def write underscore info and then parenthesis. So here my function name is write underscore info because we are writing the informations of employees. And now the third line is f is equals to open and in parenthesis employee dot dat comma wb. Wb is the mode because we have to write in the binary file, and this is how we will open our file. And here my object is f. So I'm opening my binary file in the variable f or in the object f. And now the fourth line is for info in range 10. So why we are using the loop here? Because if you will not use the loop, then you have to run the program 10 times for entering 10 different data of employees. But if you will use the loop for 10 times, then you can simply run the code only one time, and you can enter 10 different data of different employees. So it will make your work easier and it will take your less time. That is why we have used loop here, and we will run the loop 10 times so that we can enter 10 entries of employees. So in the parenthesis, I have written 10 only. So this will be my stopping position, and the loop will start from 0 to 9. So it will run 10 times. As I have to store three informations inside my binary file employee.dat, then I am taking three new variables, that is employee underscore name, employee underscore age, and employee underscore salary. These are my three variables which will store the name, age, and salary of any employee respectively. So in the fifth line, I have written employee underscore name is equals to input enter name so that the user can enter the name of the employee. And then in the sixth line, I have written employee underscore age is equals to int input enter age so that the user can enter the age of the employee. And as the age of employee is always in the integer form, that is why I have used here the int typecasting. And now in the seventh line, I have written employee underscore salary is equals to float because the salary can be in the decimal form. That is why I have used the float typecasting here. And then input enter salary so that the user can enter the salary of that employee to store in the binary file. And now whenever you have to store multiple things simultaneously at a one time, then we take a new variable and then we make a list and we store all the variable inside that list. So I have taken a new variable that is data, and in that data I have stored a list, and that list is containing the upper three variables which will store the name, age, and salary of that employee. Because I can give only one argument in my bracket, that is in the parenthesis of dump function. That is why we have to make a list so that we can add the three things or more than three things at a one time. So now in the ninth line, I have written pickle.dump and in parenthesis data comma f. So now I am using the dump function of pickle library to enter the data in my binary file which is opened in the object f. And now when I will do all these things now, so at last I have to close my file. So it is written that f dot close. And now when I will call this function by writing the function name,
Then when I will run my program, then one by one it will ask you for enter name, enter age, enter salary, and this will occur for 10 times because we have used the loop here. Otherwise you have to run the program 10 times for entering 10 different data. But as we have used here the loop, so we can run the code one and we can enter 10 different employees data at a single time. So this is how you can do such type of things using this code. Now the next question is, write a function to print the data of those employees whose salary is more than or equal to rupees 50,000. So the table is same, and now we have to print the information of those employees whose salaries are more than or equal to rupees 50,000. So the first line will be import pickle, and then the next line is def read underscore info and parenthesis. So read underscore info is the function name here I have taken, and in the third line I have opened my file using the RB mode because I have to read that file, and we have to fetch some data by reading it. That is why I have used the read, that is read binary mode, because we don't have to write anything. And now this is the format, so you can also learn this if you can, or you if you can understand, then it is very nice. But also if you are a student of class 12th and you have to give your CBSE board examination, then you can learn this pattern because this is the easiest and I think so very common pattern which CBSE board examination takes. So yes, in the fourth line, try is also a keyword and except is also a keyword. I think you can understand because I have discussed every keyword in my first or second video, I think. And now try, and then the fifth line is while true. So we are using the while loop here, and while true means the loop will run till our file have the data, means it will only end when it will come at the last data. Because like when our loop will run for the first information, the information of the first employee, then again the condition will be true because there are more informations of more employees there. So the loop will run till the end if we will write like while true, and then inside the loop it is written that data is equals to pickle dot load and in parenthesis f. So this is the format like how we can load any file, like how we can read any file inside any variable. So data is the variable here in which I am reading the data of my file, and f is the object in which I have opened my file, and load is the function of pickle library which is used for opening or reading or fetching the data from my file. And now after fetching it in the data variable, I am using the conditions here so that I can get the information of only those employees who have salary more than or equal to 50,000. So the condition is if data and in square bracket 2. So 2 is the index here and data is the variable, and data will store every information of every employees. So like you can remember, like our information is stored in the order like name, age and salary. So salary is at the second index, that is why we are using the second index here, so that we can check the salary of any employee. And now data in square bracket 2 greater than equal to 50,000. This means that this condition will become true only if the salary of the employee will be greater than or equal to 50,000. And if the condition will be true, then the statement which we have written inside the if condition will work. That is print data. So when the salary of any employee will be above or equal to the 50,000, then that employee data will be printed in our output. This is how the loop will run. And if there will be any type of error, then our file will be closed and whole program will end. That is why it is written here except EOF error and f dot close. Generally programmers write this line so that in case any error occur, so there will no problem occur in other code and our file become closed and no data can be interrupted by anyone else. So this is how you can do this work by using the Python language and by using the pickle library file, and then you can call your function and you can find those employees information whose salary are greater than or equal to 50,000. So that's all about the files in Python, and this is the last video of files in Python. And all I explained in the 4 videos of files in Python about the text files and about the binary file is more than enough. So if you are a student of class 12th and you are going to do your preparation for board examination, then it is more than enough, and the only thing which you have to do is practices. So do lot of practices to build more logic and to make a tight grip on these topics. And if you are a Python learner and you want to dive more deeper in this language, then you have to learn more. But as I am discussing the Python programming language here, so I can't make videos completely on those things. So you can take the batches for all those things if you want to dive more deeper. Like there are a lot of batches, so yes, you can, but otherwise it is more than enough if you are learning a Python language only for your knowledge or as your starting learning language. So it is more than enough. And now you have to practice a lot, and yes, you will get a very better grip on these topics. So yes, if you have any problem, then you can tell me in the comment section. I will surely help you. Now, thank you for watching and follow for more.